Hello everybody and welcome to another week of Makers Monday. I am Anastasia Radloff, aka Stampin' Blondie, and I'm excited to be back to you with some fun, simple stamping this week. I hope you all had an amazing weekend. It was really beautiful here on Sunday in Rhode Island. Saturday it poured, but Sunday was beautiful, so we were able to get out. I spent some time on Sunday morning at the beach, not getting in the water. It's still too cold for that, but there was a car show at the beach, and so my husband has a fancy car, so he enters his car into car shows, and so he was able to look at the cars and I was able to go read on the beach, and it was just such an amazing morning. And then we did a ton of stuff for getting ready to move. So I am ready to be back in the craft room today and excited to show you some projects today featuring simple stamping. Now let me just make sure that I'm live here on Facebook. I'm also live over on YouTube. Oh, there we go. So I am live on Facebook, thankfully. For some reason earlier this afternoon, my streaming service that I use for these videos, it wasn't connecting to Facebook. So it was only showing YouTube. So if you aren't following me over on YouTube, feel free to do that. Stampin' Blondie is my title over there as well, so you can easily find me. So hopefully we are good to go for continuing on next week. I don't understand what the problem was, but hopefully we'll get it fixed. All right. Hello, Maggie. Hi, Mom. Thanks for watching. I miss you too. All right. So today I'm creating 3 projects featuring simple stamping. Now, what exactly is simple stamping? Now, with the debut of the brand new 2025-2026 annual catalog last week, we all have those really long wish lists, and we wish we could get every single thing from that in our cart. But sometimes having too many supplies is overwhelming and you don't really know where to start. So we're taking things back to the beginning with simple stamping and focusing this week on stamps, inks, and papers. So those are the 3 things that we'll be focusing this week for quick and easy projects for no matter what skill level you are. Now, you may think creating projects with just stamps, inks, and papers are super easy, but if you are a more advanced crafter like myself who really loves to do die cutting, punching, embossing, adding those fun different techniques, reeling things back in to just those stamps, inks, and papers can really be a challenge sometimes. So today we're going to create 3 projects featuring the Layered Thoughts stamp set from the brand new annual catalog. So let's go ahead and swap the camera. I have a couple of things to go over before we jump into those projects, so let's get started. Now, as I mentioned, last week was the debut of the 2025-2026 annual catalog, and you can see right here what it looks like. Now, every year I like to get my catalog spiral bound, so it does not come like this from Stampin' Up. I just like to get mine spiral bound because it's a little easier to show you here on the videos. But the annual catalog is the catalog that will run until May of next year. Now in here, you find some of our core products, such as all of our color families, inks, and cardstock, and some designer series paper, embellishments, ribbons, stamps, and so forth. Now pairing with this is our online exclusive items. So those items you won't find in this catalog, but that is so Stampin' Up! Can update their offering a little quicker than what comes out every year in this catalog. So online you'll find more stamp sets, dies, embellishments, ribbons, those kind of things that do pair along with some of the items here as well. All right, so annual catalog, I mailed those out, so you should have received those if you signed up for my list. Like I said, I kind of switched things up a little bit differently this year. So if you are still wanting an annual catalog and you aren't working with a current demonstrator, there is a link in the description of this video that you can go and request your free catalog. So it is all debuted, it's all ready to go. Hello, Sarah, Dawn, Nancy, and Kathy. I am so happy that I was able to connect with you, Kathy, and I hope you're enjoying your new home back in Colorado again. All right, so annual catalog. Now with this, like I mentioned, our wish list is really long. So last week, Stampin' Up! Debuted their starter kit special. So what this is normally to join Stampin' Up! You get to choose $125 worth of your choice in products, and it's $99 with free shipping. Now, through the end of May, you get to choose $165 worth of products, still for that $99. It still has free shipping. It includes a paper pumpkin kit, as well as some catalogs and other business supplies. But joining Stampin' Up!, there's no requirement to teach classes, host events, or even sell any products. So during the month of May, you can join the Stampin' Blondie team, and I love to do events with my team. All of my team includes their my tutorials that I do each month for my customers. They get for free. So joining the Stampin' Blondie team, if your wish list is over $99, this is the best option through the end of May. So if you ever had any questions about becoming a demonstrator or what it means to be a demonstrator, I would be more than happy to answer them for you. This November will be my 15th year with Stampin' Up!, so I know quite a bit about the company and the products, so I would love to have you join the Stampin' Blondie team. Like I said, no requirements to sell any products, teach classes, host events, or do Facebook Lives. So there is a link in the description of this video that takes you to my website to learn all about the Stampin' Blondie team and what it means to become a demonstrator. All right, so before we jump into our projects this week, now, like I mentioned earlier, I was having some issues with my streaming service. Now, when I went back to go check on, well, we didn't have a Makers Monday last week because my mom was visiting, but 2 weeks ago, my videos have disappeared recently. If you go on to my Facebook and you scroll down, you'll see that it says like this post has been deleted. I did not delete my video from last week, so I'm not sure what's going on. But because I didn't pull a Prize Patrol winner from that video, we're gonna offer the same thing again this week. Just because I don't know who shared the video last week because I can't go back and see it. So Prize Patrol this week is the heart-shaped bundle. Includes the heart-shaped dies and photopolymer stamp set, 8 stamps with the images and sentiments to go along with it. Like I said, all you have to do is share this video, comment that you shared, and you'll be entered into Prize Patrol. So unfortunately, we don't have a Prize Patrol to pull for this week because my video disappeared. So we're just gonna run the same product as 2 weeks ago for this week's Prize Patrol. And like I said, comment that you shared, share this video, and you'll be entered into Prize Patrol. All right, let's go ahead and start our projects here today. So yesterday on my website, Facebook, Instagram, I shared this project. Now we are taking things back to stamps, inks, and papers, so just remember that. This card actually features all 5 of the brand new 2025-2027 in colors that were released last week. Now this stamp set this card features the Layered Thoughts stamp set, which I'll be showcasing here as my main stamp set this week. Now, this stamp set I'm also pairing with, it's in the catalog, and I can finally show you the inside of the catalog. Right here on page 31, it's kind of hard to see, but this, there we go. This is the Celebration Expressions Memories and More card pack. Now, what are Memories and More card packs? Now, this is what it looks like. Now, I've made quite a few cards from this, and this is still what I have left. But Memories and More card packs are great for not only card makers, but scrapbookers as well. These are really good for mounting pictures, designing scrapbook pages, and they're dual-sided as well. So they come in 2 different sizes. This I think is, let's see what size this is. Oh, it says it right here, 3x4 and 4x6. And there's different designs on the different sizes. You get a much more 3x4 than the 4x6. Now I'm going to use these on cards. Now these are great for beginner stampers, for those that don't want a lot of supplies but want to be able to create some great projects that you don't need to do a lot of stamping, or you don't need to do have a lot of supplies like designer series paper and all these. I will be using these as my designer series paper this week. So I showed you this card because this features just the stamp set. So we'll be using the Layered Thought stamp set, but then also we'll be creating the 3 projects. So here is one of them using 2 of those Celebration Expressions, Memories and More. And then we're gonna step it up just a little bit by doing some line art onto these. So we have this one. This features Timid Tiger and Darling Duckling plus Secret Sea, which are 3 of the new in colors. Now this one features Secret Sea and Strawberry Slush. So these 2 are also the in colors, and just cutting up some of those Memories and More, you really use that as your background paper, and then 2 stamps, really easy to put these together. And then this one features Timid Tiger, and we're gonna do some ripping of the paper and some dotting using a Stampin' Write marker. So very simple to put together. Now, I did talk about stamps, inks, and papers, but we did have a little bit of a ribbon here. Very easy still, because we're not creating a bow. I know some beginner card makers have issues with tying bows, but we're just gonna do a simple knot, and it's very easy to put together. All right, so in the catalog, we have the Celebration Expressions, Memories and More on page 31. And then on page 34 is the Layered Thoughts stamp set. There's no dies to coordinate with this, no punches, no designer series paper. So this is a great stamp set for beginner crafters or those that are looking to just add some sentiments to their craft supplies. All right, now also on my website, stampinblondie.com, you can print out the PDF project list. It has all of the supplies, item numbers, and prices of the project pieces that I'm using on this week's projects. And don't forget, each week I offer this as a class kit to go. So this is what it looks like. It includes all of the project pieces minus the stamped images, because we can't send stamped images through the mail. But if you place an order on my website by Thursday night, midnight into Friday morning, $35 or more, I will send you a class kit for free. All right, so let's go ahead and get started. We are gonna work on this card because actually it's gonna take the longest, but once we put it together, you'll see it doesn't take much time at all. So we are featuring on here Darling Duckling, which is one of those new in colors, and 4 1/4 by 5.5 is our front of our card. So 8.5 by 5.5, scored at 4 1/4. Now I am gonna cut, so we're gonna get the paper trimmer out today. This is the 4 by 6 of the card, that's the other side. And we're gonna cut this down to 4 by 5 1/4. So we're just gonna take 3/4 of this off. Okay, and you can save this little piece for something else. I'm just going to recycle it. Okay, we're gonna glue this down, and I'm gonna use my Stampin' Seal for this. It's almost empty, so I have my refill here waiting in the wings. Yeah, Kay, these word stamps are really fun. We got these at Stampin' Up! On Stage, which is a demonstrator only event that was held in March. And when I first got it, I will say it's not my style, but now that I'm working with it more, I really wanted to not just sit it on a shelf and never use it because I didn't think it was my style, but I really like how fun it is to be able to create these layered words. Okay, now next we have a piece of Timid Tiger cardstock. This is 3 3x4, and because of that, our card that's 3x4, we're gonna cut it to 3 7/8 by 2 7/8. So bring our trimmer back out. So 3 7/8 by 2 7/8. And even with the cutting of these pieces off the edges, you can see how easy these are to put together. All right, we're gonna, before we glue this down though, we're gonna do some line work here. Now I kind of showcased this a little bit 2 weeks ago on Makers Monday, but we are going to do a little bit different this week. Now I have a clear ruler. This is a quilting ruler, but I like it because it's clear and I can see exactly the measurements that I need. And what we're gonna do is I'm going to line my paper up on my grid paper, and I'm going to use the 2025-2027 in color Stampin' Write markers. Now, these Stampin' Write markers different than our Stampin' Blends because these markers have the same ink as our ink pads, while as our Stampin' Blends have alcohol-based ink. So we're gonna be using this, and it has kind of a writing tip, so we're gonna use that side. And we're gonna take our clear ruler, and I'm gonna line this up on one of my grids for the grid paper. And I'm just going to draw 1/2 inch little notches on here. So one going there and 1/2 inch. Oh, I want to make sure I'm in the right spot here. 1/2 inch there. Oh, I should have gone down further. Line it up again. Here we go. And then we're just gonna do the same thing on the other side. So 1/2 inch. And just use the grid from the paper as your guide. And 1/2 inch. So this is a great way to really kind of step up your paper, just adding a few lines, and then you're gonna get this really fun kind of framed effect on it. So same thing on this side, one square in and 1/2 inch. Let's go this way. It's a little easier to see when you go from the bottom of the ruler instead of trying to draw the line on the top. And the best part about this is these inks on here are water-based. So if you do get ink on your ruler, you can just take a baby wipe and wipe it right off. And that's what I'll do at the end here. So there we have a nice little just kind of crossed shape pattern. So we're gonna use that as a frame on our pattern paper here. Okay, we can put that off to the side, and we're gonna do some stamping. Now I have the 4 new In Colors stamp pads. Now you may have noticed if you went to the Stampin' Up! Website that Cloud Cover does not have a full-size ink pad. That is because Stampin' Up! Does testing on all of their ink pads, and they noticed as the Cloud Cover ink dried, it shifted in color to not match our cardstock and other inks that we have, like our refill and our Stampin' Write marker. So because of this, Stampin' Up! Did not want to put the ink pad out for sale. It is not going to be for sale, but you can purchase little Stampin' spots and use the refills to make your little own ink pad. Now the reason the full-size ink pad was having issues is because the color was reacting to the foam ink pad and it was shifting the color. So the little Stampin' spots are not foam, they're felt. So you won't have any color shifting when using those, but unfortunately the Cloud Cover ink pad full size will not be available for purchase. So we are gonna use Secret C and the Thinking of You stamp set. Now, the good thing, well, I don't know if it's a good thing, but they are offering it to demonstrators only for the full-size ink pad. So I bought one. They did mention that it could be defective. It could not be defective. They don't know. So we will see. Mine should be here Wednesday. So I will see. I'll stamp mine and see if it's defective or not. All right, so secret C for the thinking, and then the word of, there's my tiny little ink pad here. This thinking of is also in secret C. And then for the U, that will be in timid tiger. Hello, Margaret. I have not moved yet. Well, I moved to Rhode Island last summer. But I have not moved to Korea yet. I will be leaving this house at the end of June, and then we'll be visiting family in Iowa for a few weeks, and then we leave the country on July 22nd. So it's coming up very quickly. That's why we were preparing for some of our move. So we have 4 different moving dates for them to come pack our stuff. So we have what they call non-temp storage. So the military will be storing some things for us while we live overseas. And that's because in Korea, the housing is all apartments. So we won't need our lawn equipment and garage style things. So they will be storing those items for us. Then we have our main household goods. So this is the white 1/4 inch ribbon. We're just gonna add this to the bottom here. So our main household goods, so they'll come pack all of our things. And then we also have something called unaccompanied baggage. Now, normally when they ship your items, it goes on the slow boat. So it can take up to 4 months to get your household goods. So they do 1 crate of things, and it's called unaccompanied baggage, and it's kind of like your everyday household items, kitchen stuff, pots and pans, sheets, towels, that kind of stuff. And that gets air freighted, and that should be there in about a month. So we just added our ribbon down there at the bottom. And then we have 1 more of things that we're gonna take to my husband's parents' house in Iowa to store until he retires from the military. And these are things that we are kind of tired of moving around, or more sentimental items that we don't want to move to Korea, and then we don't want the government to store. So before I do this part without talking about what I'm doing, I mentioned we weren't going to do a bow. So we wrapped our 1 ribbon, and then we have a smaller piece that we ran underneath, and we're going to tie it perpendicular to the other one, and we're just going to do a simple knot. So no bows on this one this week. This is great for those beginner crafters, or maybe those that just have a little bit of issue with tying bows. And we're just going to cut this at an angle. So yeah, we've got 4 different things to pack up, and it's quite crazy trying to divvy everything up and figuring out where things go, and yeah, it's very stressful. So we have our little sentiment piece here, and we're going to add dimensionals to the back of this. And we actually have our date of when the temporary storage movers are coming to pack our stuff. And then we have our date for our unaccompanied baggage, but we don't have the date for the big move because we're still waiting on my husband to get orders, which include me, so I can't do my passport process until we get those. So hopefully this week, fingers crossed. Will I still be able to do Stampin' Up? Yes, I've had multiple people ask me that. Yes, I'll still be able to do Stampin' Up. Yes, it'll modify a little bit, but I'll still be doing Makers Monday. It'll be Tuesday morning for me, but we'll still be doing Makers Monday. But yes, I am getting excited, but I'm extremely nervous. Very big culture change. But I was nervous to move to Italy and I loved it. So we'll see. Everybody that I have talked to that has been to Korea absolutely loves it. My husband's excited to go back. He did a year deployment there without me, so he's excited to go. But here is our first project tonight, featuring that Layered Thoughts stamp set and the Celebration Expressions Memories and More card pack. Again, very simple, very easy, just some stamps, inks, paper, with a little addition of a ribbon. I didn't go too crazy with the embellishments, but very simple to put together. So I hope you guys like that project. All right, this next one is gonna feature some tearing of paper. So a little different than normal. So we have a Timid Tiger card base, 5.5 by 8.5, scored at 4 1/4. I think I'm more nervous for the cultural differences. It's, yes, language barrier, but a lot of people speak English. It's just still just so different. In Italy, I could figure out the words on signs because I could phonetically sound it out. But Korean is like symbols, and so it's a lot different, but I'll make it work. I always do. And I did not want to go to Italy, and when it was time to come home, I didn't want to come home. So I'm not saying I don't want to go to Korea. I do, but I'm just nervous. Plus I hate flying. That's a really long flight. Okay, so our Timid Tiger card base, we have a piece of basic white cardstock, 4 by 5 1/4, and then we have a piece of that Celebrations, Memories, and More, 4 by 5 1/4 already. I just cut this one down. It was 4 by 6, but I cut this one down just for time. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna use this really big happy birthday stamp. And even though I'm not stamping it, you can see how it kind of fits between this berry burst line and then this berry burst line. So what we're gonna do, so the sentiment fits right in here. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna tear our paper right on that line to line this up with the paper. And this is why our cardstock is the same size as our basic white here. So we're just gonna add all of this here, and this is gonna go in the upper corner. Just gonna glue that on. And then we're gonna do the same thing at this line here, this berry burst line. We're gonna cut or tear our paper here. And then we're gonna use this little piece. We're gonna glue it here. Hopefully I get one of those. Oh, I wish I got a first class seat. So we are taking what is called the Rotator. It is a military contracted flight. It's like a commercial flight, but so it's not like a military plane. It's a commercial flight, but it doesn't have special like first class, business class kind of thing. It's just all one plane. I wish I had one of those really fun first class where it lays flat and like all that stuff, but no. I get what the military puts me on. I wanted to fly commercial, like, so we could upgrade and get one of those fancy seats, but they put us on the military flight, and if they have room for you, you have to go on the military flight. So yeah, I wish. Okay, so we glued those two pieces that we ripped. Now, if you were really crafty, you could make another project out of this. Say you could do something like this instead and put like a smaller sentiment here. So you technically have two cards out of this one piece of Memories and More pack, but we're just gonna put that off to the side, and we're gonna stamp our sentiment using Timid Tiger ink. I know, wishful thinking. We were so close to getting military, or to getting like a regular, like say a Delta flight, but then the lady just like booked us on the Rotator, which is the military flight, and I was like, man. But the good news is the military flight lands right on base in Korea. If I had to take commercial flight, then I would have to fly into Seoul, and that's about an hour away from base. So then I gotta lug all of our stuff from Seoul to base. So it's a little better that we're flying the Rotator, but the last time it was not the best. So hopefully this time it's better. Okay, so you can see our sentiment fits right in the middle of there. And now we're gonna, as I like to say, zhuzh this up a little bit. So this is the black Stampin' Write marker. These black markers are sold individually and they're $3.50. So a really great deal that it still has the same brush tip and the pen tip. So it is really nice. You can journal with this one too. But what we're gonna do is we're gonna just do some little dots around the paper. So I added 3 here in the upper right, 3 in the lower left, and then 1 on each side, just to kind of have it not be so white and stark plain. So just little dots here. And again, anybody can do this. You don't have to have special skills to do these little dots. So stamps, inks, and papers. And then you have just a little something extra on there so it's not so plain. We're gonna add Stampin' Dimensionals to the back of this. There we go. Oh, I hope you share some of their culture once in a while. I definitely will. So when I lived in Italy, I wasn't allowed to sell Stampin' Up! Because of the, it's called a Status of Forces agreement, but it's an agreement between Italy and the United States that you couldn't have a home-based business. Well, in Korea I can, but when I was in Italy, I did something called Confessions of a Traveling Stamper on my blog. So I would post about little day trips we took or little different things about the area. So I'm going to be bringing back Confessions of a Traveling Stamper in between all of my card making stuff still that I can do over there as well. All right, so Stampin' Dimensionals on the back of this, and we have this really simple project, really easy to put together. And it's a great way to have those pops of color, and you still have this leftover piece here that you could create on the back side as well. So you get 2 for 1 out of that 1 strip of paper. So very simple. I hope you guys like this project, and that's our second one featuring the Layered Thoughts stamp set. All right, this is our last card today. This is my favorite this week. I really like the color combination of Strawberry Slush and Secret Sea. The bright Strawberry Slush really pops against that dark Secret Sea, and this is a really fun project to put together. Okay, so we're doing an easel card for this one, 4 1/4 by 11, scored at 5 1/2. And this piece, I forgot to write the measurements down for this one. This one is 3 3/4 by 5. And we're gonna put our card base off to the side because we're gonna work on this layer first. Now, this is the 4 by 6 Memories of More card pack piece, but we're gonna cut this down to 3 5/8 by 1 inch, and we're gonna cut 4 pieces. So I'm gonna bring this in, and what I like to do is I cut my 1 inch pieces first, because then you still have the full size of the leftover piece to work with. So it's not 3 by 5/8 and kind of a weird size. So you still have this to work with for another piece. So our 4 1 inch slices, and we're gonna cut those down to 3 5/8. And there we go. So there's our 4 little pieces here for this. Now we are gonna line these up on our piece of Secret Sea, and I kind of like to line everything up first. Sarah says, I will say I've not been a fan of these colors, but seeing these cards, they are growing on me. Oh man, I love these ones so much more than the ones that just retired. But I also am a fan of brighter colors, and I really love these. Even though Secret Sea isn't really a bright color, it's really fun with Strawberry Slush. Okay, I've got my 4 strips laid out, and we're gonna add these on one by one. And I just wanted to make sure my spacing on everything was good before I glued it all down. And yes, I'm so happy I get to keep doing my lives. Like I said, so right now it is, so here in Rhode Island, it's 8:35 p.m. So they are, I think it's 13 hours ahead. So it would be 9:35 a.m. Yeah, because 12 hours would be 8:35. So 9:35. I think I'm going the right way. Either way, it'll be morning for me, but not super early where I'd be like dragging tired. So I'll still be doing Makers Monday at the same time here as I'll be doing it over there. It'll just be Tuesday morning for me. So easy peasy. All right, we've got all of those glued down, and now we have a piece of Strawberry Slush cardstock. This is, just for reference in case you want to know, this is 1.5 by 3 3/4, and we're gonna stamp the thank sentiment on here using Secret Slush, or Secret Sea, Strawberry Slush and Secret Sea. All right, close. There we go. And that's gonna go right here in the middle. And then the word you is the same one that we used on one of our other projects. And we're just gonna stamp that on just a little scrap piece of Strawberry Slush as well. So there we go. And now we can assemble everything. So on the back of our Secret Sea, we're gonna add dimensionals to the back here. And this is a great thank you card because this can be given to males, females, anybody. It doesn't have to just be like a floral thank you card and then you don't want to gift it to a man. But this is fun because it has pink and the blue, and it's really a bright color, and it really can be given to anybody. So that will go there in the middle. Our thank is gonna go on with our liquid glue, and that's gonna go right in between these 2 bottom pieces of that pattern paper. So we'll still have them peeking out there, so you'll still see the pattern on there. And then this little piece, we're going to use dimensionals, and we're gonna pop that up. And I'm gonna use my scissors because this is kind of a smaller one. Let's see. Will it fit? Oh yeah, it fits. So we're just gonna use regular dimensionals, and that's gonna go right below the word thank. And that is our last project today, featuring the layered thought stamp set and the Celebration Expressions Memories and More cardstock Memories and More card pack for this week's theme of simple stamping. Quick and simple to put together. These are really great projects for beginner crafters, those that may not want to purchase a lot of supplies, or those that are just looking for some quick and easy projects to put together. All right, so let's bring in all 3 of our projects this week, and you can let me know which one is your favorite. We had the Strawberry Slush thank you card. We had the Timid Tiger Happy Birthday, or the Darling Duckling Thinking of You. So let's get those all in a frame so you can see them. Let me know which one is your favorite. Like I mentioned earlier this week, the thank you Strawberry Slush is my favorite one this week. Very fun with the bubble look on there. All right, well, thank you everybody for joining me for another week of Makers Monday. I look forward to seeing you next week. Now, we only have a few Makers Mondays left before I have to pack up this craft room and ship it across seas. So make sure to keep an eye on my website. Next week, we will be having a Makers Monday, but the following weekend is Memorial Day, and I will be spending the weekend in Niagara Falls. So I look forward to seeing you next week for our